Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, and that you are having a great day. And in today's video, I'm going to be sitting back in my very squeaky chair, relaxing and having a little conversation with all of you guys about a cartoon that I enjoyed way back in the day called Shaolin Showdown. That's right, we're talking about an interesting little fun cartoon that I liked. This was a cartoon that, if I recall correctly, first aired way back in November of 2003 on Kids WB. A programming block that I don't think is actually around anymore, if I'm being honest. Although if I had to guess, probably most blocks from 20 years ago aren't around. Is Toonami still around? I hope so. Loved me some Toonami. Anyway, Shaolin Showdown was a martial arts adventure action cartoon that followed the adventurous escapades of 4 Shaolin monks, as the name suggests, as they go on globe-trotting adventures trying to hunt down these mystical items called Shengong Wu and collecting them before the forces of evil could get a hold of them and bring about uncertain doom to the planet. Now, this show was a smash hit. It was very popular, and a lot of that popularity was thanks in part to the characters themselves. The 4 main characters. There was the really overly literal monk Omi. There was the angry and tech-savvy Kimiko. There was Raimundo, the street-smart kid who liked sports. And then there was the best character, the cowboy, Clay, my personal favorite. And of course, there was also the memorable villains. There was Jack Spicer, Wuya, Chase Young, who of course rounded out the cast really nicely. And there was also like really inventive and imaginative set pieces set out like basically every episode for the big battles of the week. Oh, and it had a killer theme song. Now, this popularity led to the show getting 3 whole seasons with about 52 episodes, if I recall correctly, airing up until about 2006. And of course, it also got things like a sequel show, a video game, and most importantly, a trading card game. That's right! Today, we're not talking about the cartoon itself, we're talking about the TCG. I tricked you guys, didn't I? Gotcha yet again. We're talking about the Shaolin Showdown TCG. Quite an interesting one from way back in 2005, and in case you guys aren't aware, one of many dead TCGs. And you guys know I love talking about some dead TCGs. Now, as a franchise tie-in card game, you'd expect the Shaolin Showdown TCG to be made by perhaps Decipher, but no, actually, this was produced by Wizards of the Coast. Yes, that Wizards of the Coast, the same company responsible for Magic the Gathering, with the game itself being designed by Mike Elliott, a man who has worked on several Magic the Gathering sets, almost 30, if I recall correctly, and most importantly for me, he's the man credited with the creation of the Slivers. Now, the first set, as well as the 2-player starter, was released in October of 2005, with a follow-up set called Wu Dai Warriors, I believe, coming out in March the following year. Much like the cartoon, the Shaolin Showdown TCG has players fighting for control over the mystical Shengong Wu, competing in Shaolin Showdowns, hence the name, for dominion and control over these mystical artifacts, and the first player to win 4 Shaolin Showdowns is the winner of the game overall. A game begins by shuffling up and drawing 7 cards to start. Players take turns, and they begin their turns by untapping, drawing a card, and then they have a chance to play a warrior card into their training area, which provides skill points, this game's equivalent to Magic's mana system. If you have enough skill in play, you can then put a Shengong Wu from your hand into the vault, or you can challenge an opponent to a showdown, either by playing a Shengong Wu from your hand into the showdown zone, or by blindly playing the top card of your deck and hoping that that's a Shengong Wu. In a challenge, you can tap a Shengong Wu in your vault, or play a card from your hand, as long as you have the skill required for it. The battles are decided pretty simply, with the higher number total winning and the winner claiming the Wu. And of course, as I said earlier, the first player to win for Shenggong Wu wins the game. Now, of course, that was not a full breakdown of the rules. There's more to it, like card colors, master cards, etc. But those are the basics. Speaking of the basics, this TCG does a great job of explaining them to the players, thanks to this playmat that came with the 2-player starter set. And this thing's got a lot of information on it, and it's also frickin' huge. I mean, look at this thing. But besides the basic rules themselves and, how to start the game, what do I think about it overall? Well, overall, I think it's a fine game. However, besides the IP it's based on, there's not a lot here that really stands out, especially from other card games of the day. The rules are simple. Yes, they're easy to understand, certainly, but they're also kind of forgettable, if I'm being honest. And that's just a me thing, honestly, if I have to be completely serious with you guys. But I've played several rounds of the XIAOLIN Showdown TCG in the past, and I actually needed the playmat to give me a quick refresher before I wanted to make this video. Now, one thing I actually don't like about this TCG is the art. It's all screenshots from the cartoon and reused assets. And you guys know how I feel about that. I feel like it's lazy and that it doesn't really do a good service to the TCG industry as a whole. And it's something that I've come to expect from Decipher, which is part of why I thought this TCG was produced by them when I first picked it up way back in the day. But no, this isn't a Decipher TCG. This is a Wizards of the Coast TCG, and usually WotC does a great job of providing original, unique art for its card games, and that just makes this all the more disappointing in my opinion. But with the art aside, I do like the overall card layout. I feel like it's easy to understand, simple, and well designed. I like the overall combat mechanics, the showdown theme to the game, and how easy the rules are to grasp. I like the little back and forth, and I like that this is something based off of XIAOLIN Showdown, which was quite a good show if I'm being honest. But overall, like I said, it did fail to stand out. It failed to get an audience, and after only 2 sets, it did kind of fade into obscurity and join the ranks of countless other card games in the TCG graveyard. Now, for my overall review, it is a fun game. It's a good distraction. It's relatively cheap, so if you're looking for a cheap TCG to pick up, this is definitely one to consider. However, if you're a XIAOLIN Showdown fan, I don't believe this is something you should consider. I think that this is a must-have because there's honestly not a lot of merch out there for XIAOLIN Showdown, if I'm being honest. There's some toys and a video game and not much else. Overall, if I'm a XIAOLIN Showdown fan, I give this game a higher score, but I'm trying to be a bit more impartial here, so I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 6 out of 10 overall. Fine, but forgettable. Now then, thank you so very much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you enjoyed, please show me that you did by leaving a like, a comment, or even subscribing to the channel. These kind of videos take a bit more effort to make than my usual chat videos, and if you guys want to see more, appeasing the algorithm for these videos is a great way to get me to make more of these videos. Besides that, you can always check out the Discord, check out the Patreon, and check out my TCG Player Store. Links to all of those are in the description below. And I think that's it. Thanks again. Have a great day. See you next time.